Cool. Let's see. Are you going to transition OBS? OBS transitioned. Yay. Yay. That version of yay has been me for 2 weeks now. So I guess the way we should start this one off is, can we all agree that Satan needs to take his temperature back? Yeah, this is the wettest June I can remember in a while, but up here in North Louisiana, we had a drought for about 5 years, or they called it a drought, but I don't know. I guess there's a scientific definition of what is or is not a drought versus your normal rainfall, because it still rained. I guess we were just well enough below the average, but it has been wet and hot and sucked. See, hold on. Give me a second. OBS just switched the input for y'all. So give me a second to. Oh, okay, it's gonna crash. Thanks, OBS. Piece of shit. So I think so far it's been just a one-sided conversation on frickin'
Like we're still, I'm showing that we're still doing.
Yeah, I'm just trying
Yes,
to. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, now we got y'all because it decided to switch to default for no reason. Lord, this is what happens when I don't touch my computer for a week.
Yeah, that's a. Let's see. Let me get this muted so that I can, or just off because I can see it now. We're fine.
It has been raining every day here. It's rained at least a little bit. Like, I'm getting New Orleans 3 p.m. rain every day.
I'm getting that sometimes twice a day. I think we've had maybe 2 days in the last 2 months where we've not had any rain. Temperature today was 107-degree heat index with over 100% humidity.
Fuck that.
A lot.
I'm glad today was the day Vincent decided he was done with a lot of things and wanted to take a nap. And Emily took the car and went to work. So I did not have a way to take Vincent to the new house with me. So this is the first day I have not been at my new house at least 8 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, I take that back. Yesterday I was there for about 2 because I had to show my parents everything I'm doing and then tell them, no, you can't do this to my house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely a thing. That is definitely a thing that needs to happen a lot.
Yeah, my dad's gotten it. My mom says we will work on things, and I'm like, sure. By work means I keep telling you no. Now, if I had a fourth bedroom, there might be less of an argument for me because, like, all right, I'm going to put you in this section of the house that's not near anybody else. Love you. Stay here. Not stop meddling in my shit every day.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I had to do what you said for as long as I was in my old house contractually. Now, no, no. I'm no. Like I'm gonna paint this wall. I'm gonna paint this wall paint Saints Row purple. Why? Because Third Street for life. That's why.
What color was that you didn't like? That's what color I'm painting the guest room. So maybe you'll stay in.
Okay, now I did find one my mother absolutely hated. It was called French Market Green, and that green in the French Quarter that some houses are. Like you get the yellow, the pink, the blue, and the green that you can only paint the houses or the shutters.
Like, yeah, like that pastel, kind of that pastel green, like pastel, like aqua green.
Yeah, I found one of those. I really dug it, and my mom absolutely hated them. Like, this is a check mark for me to go ahead and buy a full gallon of this damn paint. Then Emily told me, "Oh, that's way too green." I'm like, "Well, shit."
Oh, damn it. I like this color. It's a little bit too green. My mom doesn't like it. We'll take 5 gallons.
No, but I agreed with Emily after I put the second coat on the tester place. But I'm gonna paint the new shed I buy green because
Okay.
I'm going to get because right now it is cheaper to buy a prefabricated shed than it is to get the lumber to build the damn prefabricated shed and reverse engineer it from just looking at it for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I might get one of those and then paint it that green because
Yeah.
it is garish, it is bright, and my lawnmower deserves a nice place to live.
Hmm.
Let's admit it. You're a homeowner now. You got to have a good dog house.
I mean, that's a shop. I mean, but I think all three of us know that. That's the shop. I mean, that when I build mine in a couple of years, that's the shop. There's a reason that I'm going to have a section of it that's going to be actually walled off, insulated with a window unit in it, because it's for air quotes keeping all of my temperature things that need temperature control, like my leather and my leather working tools. And end
And
quote.
my
I mean,
whole shop's going to have air conditioning upstairs and down.
See, so I got an electrician coming, and I'll tell this story because it's both a bonehead move and a slightly terrifying move, but I'm not the one who made the terrifying move. Well, I kind of helped with it. So I thought I shut off the power because nothing in my goddamn new house is labeled right.
yeah.
And I pulled out this 1950s vanity that still had the light bulbs attached to the side. Like very 1950s razor slit in the back so you can fill the walls full of tetanus kind of vanity set. And the screws to the junction box got messed up. And I was like, well, I've cut off the power. So I snipped it. And then power went out. When I went to turn the power back on, it was out in the whole back quarter of the house. So bathroom, hallway, master bedroom, and master bathroom. That's why I got up in the attic, like, let me make sure there's no smoke up here. Make sure I didn't do something incredibly stupid. No, I tripped a fuse. And I got a couple bar fuses, and I got screw-in fuses, and I have a breaker box in this house. So I called the electrician to come out there because nothing was labeled correctly. So we finally figured out what fuse it was, and it was the original one. It was a little 8 fuse panel. But the way you got to do it is the second you get one out, you got to slam the other one back in, or you might blow all the other fuses in the panel. Well, he pulled the old fuse out, I put the new one in, and then we watched a eighth of an inch arc, or I should say current, go down the cable and then travel for 12, 14 inches along a wire that was uninsulated until it got to a bit of plastic before it went back through a 2x4. So my house's wiring is stupid, but he's going to put a 8 breaker panel box in my shed, and then I'm going to rewire that with the help of Kyle's dad, because we're going to put in a ceiling fan from the house and then redo the wiring so that I can have the right number of plugs
Mm-hmm.
for out there, because It's about it's about 8 by 16. So if I do it right and set up one air conditioner in it, I can put a sofa out there for worst case scenarios.
You can put a sofa out there for consequences of great ideas, and that's what we're going to call it. And that's we're literally going to, and you now have to make a sign to hang over that couch that says, "Here are the consequences for great ideas."
It's the couch of persecution. I stay here, but when I am persecuted for wonderful ideas.
Exactly.
But yeah,
It is not our. It is not our fault that your. It is not our fault that our wives cannot uh cannot grasp the greatness and the ingeniousness of the things that we plot and plan to do.
Oh, the size of my backyard.
There's a reason the fold up arcot stays in my corner.
As large as my backyard is, I've already been told no 3 times. I'm not allowed to build a catapult, and I'm like, see, I didn't even ask. You said no, so now I want to do it.
No, no,
Oh,
she is
build a
100% right. She is 100% right. She said you cannot build a catapult, and by God, you will listen to what Emily says. Besides, trebuchets are a whole lot more fun.
Yeah, trebuchet better.
This is true, and it's not a catapult.
It is not a catapult. There's ballista. Ballista according to Emily at this point, ballista are still on the table.
Siege tower.
Siege towers out mostly because of ordinances, but if I can make it to where I can take it apart and then reassemble it where I need to do the siege at, as long as I don't exceed 12 feet in height, I'm fine.
I mean, a battering ram assembly, like the frame, the rectangle frame on wheels with the big battering ram on the chain. That's still on the table. You can get to that. You can do that within code. It's not too big. You can
No,
always tell them it's you could always tell them it's a chiropractic hammock.
I also do need to take out a couple of small trees that are along my fence line.
Hey, it sounds like we have a winner.
But yeah, for the last, see, the big thing for me is got out of work, went to Indiana for Cole's graduation, drove back, immediately started working at 8 a.m. the next day on the house, painting Vincent's room, then our room, then the hallway, and the front room, and then painting all the trim, thinking I was doing good, and then realizing I have goddamn crown molding in every room. Side note, all the up down on the step stool I got has allowed me to get a little bit of a aerobic workout every day.
Hey, you take your wins where you can get them.
So that's all the more reason you need one of the small 6-foot rolling scaffolds.
There you go.
He is not wrong.
At all.
At all. $69 at Harbor Freight.
I'm glad my wife is not listening into this because we have been at Home Depot, Harbor Freight, or Lowe's almost every other day. Oh, on that note, I think I need to let Emily come in here and rant to y'all about something. Let me talk amongst yourselves while I see if I can summon her to talk about the fridge.
The appliance is always fun.
I'm a little worried. I don't know if I want to hear about a fridge.
I mean, appliance stories are always a trip. I know when we build, we're doing like I want to do all new appliances. Like we'll leave the appliances if we gotta, or well maybe not the refrigerator. We'll probably take the refrigerator, put the refrigerator in the shop. But yeah, I want new appliances in my when we build.
Yeah, I kind of promised the wife when we build a house, we'll spring for new stove and refrigerator like she wants. But
Yeah.
she got to make do with what we got until then.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all, when
Here,
y'all get it
here
done,
she
y'all go
is.
do. Uh, hello.
Hello.
Hey, it's an M.
Hey. I've apparently been asked to rant.
Oh, and I just want you to know, don't worry, you don't have to listen to the VOD. I got you back. I know you told Hewitt he couldn't have a catapult, and I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, no, we don't need that.
Yeah, yeah, 100% no catapult. I got you back on that, M.
You want to make a trebuchet, don't you?
100% no catapult, M. That's all I'm saying. I'm
See,
100 behind you on that.
see, that wasn't a no, so not sure how much better I feel. Okay, so Hewitt wanted me to talk about this fridge that we wanted, I guess. So I go and look at Home Depot the other day, and there's a fridge. I don't remember, it was like 16 cubic feet. I don't remember, but it was one of those French door ones. It had the fridge on the top. It had the freezer on the bottom. There were drawers in the freezer, which means I could throw shit in there and it wouldn't matter where it went.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have an ice maker, which we didn't want anyway. This thing was $998. It's normally $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, holy shit. So Hewitt goes like the next day. We're like, okay, we just gotta bite the bullet and just buy this on the credit card because this is too good of a deal to pass up. Because our current fridge has always leaked in the back. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes and asks them, hey, I'd like to get this fridge. And they look it up. And they say, oh, well, we don't have any in stock right now. Since it's on sale, it's been very popular. And he was like, okay, well, can you order one for me? Can you put one on hold for me? And they say, no, we don't know when we're going to get any more again. Great. So I go look on the website and it says free delivery. So I'm like, oh crap, I can just buy it on the website. Then I put in our zip code. Nope, doesn't have any. I put one for Bossier. Nope. Alexandria. Nope. Apparently, this fridge is too fucking popular. So he would ask them, well, can you sell me the floor model? Because we'll take the floor model. We ain't that bougie. And they told him, no, you can't have the floor model. And we're like, why? If you aren't getting it back again, why can't you just put out another floor model? And they said, because. So the next time we went, even the price sticker wasn't on the fridge anymore. I'm like, well, shit. That means they're probably not going to get it back until after the sale, which is the end of the month. We go back again 2 days later. Price sticker's back up. I'm like, holy shit. Maybe it's there again. So I asked the woman there. She looks it up online for me. Nope. We don't know when we're going to get it. And they don't even have it on the sale price on the website anymore, which means they're not going to get it before the end of the month. And I'm not paying $1,500 for a fucking fridge.
Oh, and it was on clearance.
Oh, and it was on clearance now, which means they're probably not going to get it back at all.
But they still won't let you have the floor model.
Nope, they won't let us have the floor model. I don't know why at all, especially if it's on clearance, but they will not
Because
give
it's
us the model.
because it's not discontinued yet.
That or it just doesn't work.
No, it would not. I can almost guarantee you the reason they will not sell you the floor model is there is a chance they can still get them. It is a clearance item, and they're trying to get rid of them all, but they have not liquidated the stock yet, which means that they can still potentially get one, which means that they can't sell the floor.
Boo! They don't have any others though. Bastards. So yeah. That has been the frustration with the very cool fridge we were gonna get for really fucking cheap, but didn't get.
Yeah.
That's about how it goes.
Yeah.
But I will turn it back over to Hewitt now. Good to talk to y'all.
Yay,
She tells the story better than me because, for the most part, with the fridge, it's like
more animated than you.
she's more animated about it because I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
No, I want.
Emily's over here like I'm about to cut somebody for a fridge.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. It's hot as balls outside, boys.
That is why I'm not going out there right now.
Well, unfortunately, I am. I'm standing on my porch because it never fails. The minute we get on to do one of these things, and everybody want to come in the living room and have a big old conversation about everything. But I mean, with the light is maybe potentially be at the end of the tunnel after the experience that Boy had. And for those listening, Boy is my nephew. It's my my brother-in-law's oldest, who lives with us, who has lived with us for about 3 or 4 years now. For reasons that are, well, his dad's a jackass. So he's 19. Huh? Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. So about 2-3 months ago, it's February, the boy totaled my car. It was complete accident. It was raining. He was on a back road, hit a puddle of water, hydroplane. Nose of the car went into the ditch. Water got up to the dashboard. Total loss. The car is now total loss. Boo. However, the car was lumped in with the bankruptcy, which means that got paid off and knocked about, I don't know, 8 or 9 months off of my bankruptcy. Yay! So Boy had to take money out of his account and take about $5,000 out of the money he was saving to find a place to live, his own place, and he had to buy a vehicle. Boo! Yay! So he's finally getting to the point now, and then he's actually starting to make really good money now. He's welding, and here in the next couple of weeks, he's actually going to be going to Arizona for about 3 weeks to work on a land rig welding. So he's going to be starting to make some decent money, which puts him back on track for getting out of my house again. Yay! When that happens, I get to reorganize my entire house and set up the office, set up the room, the dining room where he is living as my space. I'll have my computer there. I'll be able to get my computer set up and ready to go to start streaming and get a streaming rig together where I can do like working things like a top-down camera. I'll have 2 3D printers that I'll be able to run. I have mine and Ricky's. Both of them are Soval 3s. The 400 by 400 bed. So like 3D print a Star Wars helmet in one go. And that's where all of the gaming stuff is going to end up being as well. And I cannot wait because that is going to clear out so much storage space in the rest of my house that we'll actually be able to declutter the house at that point.
Cool. Hold on. Is Cannon actually saying something right now? I see the green ring on him.
No, I tried to change over to the to my phone to step outside, but it didn't work, so I come back here.
All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, fun projects kind of at a halt. Other than I've kit bashed a bagman from Ravenloft to use in my party because why not? Also, God bless some of the people at D&D for making the creepiest thing that everybody's been freaking out about for like 2 months. And then not giving the motherfucker stats and saying, here you go, have fun. Which, I will not lie, that is one of my favorite things. It's like, we're going to create this lore for this absolutely terrifying thing and not give stats. And I'm like, thank you. I now get to make this thing into a nightmare for my players to deal with. But Emily and Bosch Kyle got pulled into a bag by a bag man. They have found Bagtown, the town that exists within all bags of holding that people just kind of conglomerate at, but time passes differently, so there's like 200 something year old full blooded orcs. They're like, yeah, if I leave, I'm turning in the dust. So I live in Bagtown now. This is just where I live. Also, there is a store that run by pixies that sell only one sock. To explain why that happens.
Yeah.
Bosch caused one of the pixies to explode because he handed the pixie a pair of socks, and it did not know how to compute.
I thought you couldn't breathe inside a bag of holding.
You technically can't, but
technically can't. But what I did is, if you take the new book, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, one of the things they propose is that the Bagman, who's kind of like the Slender Man of D&D, I think he was an old 2nd edition creature. You can either choose to run him as just this terrible monstrosity, or you could roll up to create a new Lord of Dread and create your own domain, and that's what I did, making the bag of holding into its own realm. So it's technically connected to every bag of holding, but it's not actually the bags of holding. But you can still steal shit out of other people's bags of holding from it, because that seems like fun. But it just means that a bag of devouring is way more terrifying within here.
Yeah, Bagman kind of spooky.
Bagman's kind of dope.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, wasn't super into Curse of Strahd. Like, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't mind playing it, but Ravenlaw, or the Van Richten's Guide, hit a note with me because it's like, hey, you want to create your own terrifying thing? I'm like, sure. Here's a list of some things to put you in the right direction. I'm like, dope. Give me now. I need this. Also, the fact that they're bringing back more of the old 2nd edition and early 3rd edition Domains of Dread. So, I'm not gonna lie, the older nerd in me is happy to see some of the things that first got me into the hobby coming back and being reimagined. I really like it. But I do have an idea for a follow-up game to a Curse of Strahd game, and it is 100% Chris Perkins' fault. Mix Curse of Strahd with Wedding Crashers for Strahd von Zarovich's wedding.
Wow. Well, I am starting to put together. I've already got all my people rolled, all my characters rolled, all my players rolled up the characters and and a couple other little things ready. I got to just start putting stuff down for the new home game that we're going to be doing. That I am going to be using the tried and true ancient D&D tradition of "that's cool, I'ma steal it." Matt Colville is, or at least is currently on hiatus. Was running an online game, was streaming a game called The Chain of Acheron. The base of the story, basically what it boils down to is that the Chain of Acheron is a large mercenary company that, due to issues and things that happen, has been decimated, and is the current story is them kind of starting to recoup and rebuild. I really dug the idea and some of the things that he does in that game. So I am going to whole cloth steal them I'm just going to change the name from the Chain of Acheron to something cool. The something cool. I don't know what the hell I'm going to call it exactly, but it's the item that is going to describe it is going to be the wheel. The wheel is a mercenary. The wheel is a mercenary is a very large mercenary company who have essentially groups of the independent groups of the wheel are called spokes. There is a supreme commander up the top brass called the hub. There is an island called the hub that is where they are based out of. That's where the upper command staff will stay and dictate the actions, and take in large scale, long term contracts for the spokes to go out on missions. Each spoke is essentially its own autonomous group. Some are specialized group, especially like specialized heavy infantry or uh, urban assault or like siege specialists. This party and what happens is these spokes will go out on 2, 3, 4, 5, 10-year missions. Essentially, there's a very good possibility they can be loaned out to basically small townships to act as a police force as the city is getting built up the township is being built up into a small city until they can take control of them themselves. After a certain amount of time, the spoke then leaves. So while they are out and about, they will come across other new. They will essentially grab new members.
Uh-oh.
That is your family. That is your unit. That is your that is your world. Uh, and eventually, once a spoke gets large enough, the spoke then returns to the hub. The senior staff of the spoke then choose junior officers to become essentially to basically take over. They take about half or a third of the existing spoke, mixed of new people and veterans and everything in between. They then go out on a short-term mission. And when they get to the area, the senior staff then brings the chosen junior officers into the tavern. They look at them. They go, "Okay, the contract is for you to go in and to clear these mines is to clear the mines for this town. Here's the contract. Come, let us know when you're done. This is your mission. You're gonna do it." And they stay at the tavern, and they get a vacation. And if the mission is successful and the senior staff does not have to intervene, then they return to the hub, and that 1/3 of the spoke that went off becomes its own new spoke. They choose colors because there's a baseline. The wheel itself has a color, and then every other garrison adds 2 colors to that to have 3 colors that represent that particular spoke. There's also a follower mechanic that he's using that I really, really like and have stolen from his book, Strongholds and Followers. I have not bought it yet simply because I want a physical copy, and they are currently changing production companies, so they are out of stock. But I managed to find the resources that I needed for it's truncated player classes. Like there is a rogue cut purse is a follower. And essentially, at first level, it can do one thing, which is its signature attack. At level 3, it can do something. At level 7, it can do something. At level 9, it can do something. It adds to the things that it can do, and that's it. But they are also used as a resource for the player characters. If they need to research what these runes mean, then they could potentially hand that off to a mage that is one of the followers, and then go off and do something else. And through a series of rolls to determine how successful the underling, the follower, is at their job, then they could potentially have that information ready for them when they get back. Or if it's really important, they would send a runner and go, "Hey, boss, this is bad. This is what it means." So it's just another way for me to interject kind of side plots potentially as well. And each player character gets a number of followers equal to their charisma modifier. So going back to old AD&D first and second edition of the whole hireling, the idea of hirelings, you hire people to run around and help you. It falls in that same vein, but modernized up into fifth edition, surprisingly using a lot of fourth edition rules. Because Colville really likes fourth edition and a lot of the things that fourth edition did. So he is incorporating some of the things that fourth edition did into fifth edition, which is fun because fourth edition was honestly with the first edition that I played, and I see what he means. There are a lot of fourth edition is where you get the idea of minions, which are monsters that only have one hit point. They cannot, if they're in a situation where they would take half damage on a save, then they take no damage at all. Right? You have to connect and you have to hit them. You do a minimum of 1 hit point of damage and it dies. But until that point, it is still it's a full on monster with the full on style. If you had a bugbear minion, it was a full on fucking bugbear. It just had 1 hit point. So it's easy to get rid of, but it's a problem until you do. So incorporating things like that into it, which is really nice. So I can't wait. He also has rules for. He's essentially bringing back a lot of the old AD&D rules for like castles and strongholds, for having some place that that the party owns, how it runs, the amount of people it takes to run it, how much it costs to run it, the things that you get out of it, i.e., if it's for example if it's a large farm, if it's an industrial farm, then it will make the party money.
Neat. That's there's a lot of stuff I've seen for fifth edition with that seems like a lot of common sense stuff, but at the same time, if it's in an older edition and you can just revamp it to the newer rules, no reason to reinvent the whole wheel, you know?
Yeah, and that's essentially what Colville has done. He's done a lot of the research because he's been playing since '87. He's been playing since '86. So he's gone through and he's taken a lot of the things that D&D and WotC have left by the wayside, to make things more streamlined and easier for people to understand. And he has now created optional rules for them, essentially. So, like, every member of my party has, except one, has a follower. The exception to that rule is the boy, who is playing a wood elf rogue assassin. So baby steps. So he's not playing a drow assassin. because he is the edgelord. But at baby steps, he's no longer playing a drow. He's now playing a wood elf, which is slightly different. Because of the fact that they're like he's gonna end up going to Arizona for 3 weeks. He's not going to be here. He's going to be the way he's going to be working on all platforms. He'll be gone 2 and 3 weeks at a time, so he won't be able to play all the time. His character, I am going to create a follower card for his character, and essentially what it boils down to is if he is not here to play, his character then becomes the follower of Moose's character. So when he shows up, posts out his character sheet, and he has been there. He's technically been there the whole time, or he has been off doing other things because there's a particular role that I have set up for him, which will allow his character to go, all right, I'll be back whenever I'm done, and shag ass and go do something else. And then once he comes back from work, he can come back and I can do a short mini session with him to tell him to see what he does and what he finds, and he comes back to the party with that information, going, okay, this is what I found. And if absolutely necessary, if he leaves between sessions and they were in combat or something, then Moose can use his follower card to make him to have his so that he can have his actions, because he's technically still involved with what they're doing. That way, I don't have to run him.
That is a really good mechanic to not have to have a player or the DM actually being the character.
At that point, he becomes, now he's going to be essentially a super follower. He's going to have more things than a normal follower can do because he's based off of a player character. The followers also give, and it's based off of your charisma modifier, minimum 1. So everyone has at least 1 follower. So if something happens, and let's say Misha's playing a wildfire druid, or we did followers 100% random. Roll a d12 that dictates the class out of that classes. However, you roll whatever was accurate. If it's 4, you roll. If there's 4 different ones, you roll a d4. That's what you get. If there's 2, you roll the d12 again, and if it's odds or evens, it depends on which ones you get. And Misha ended up with I think Misha ended up with an Aasimar. I think an Aasimar fighter follower. But if something happens to Misha's character, because this game I'm really not gonna pull any punches. This game is gonna be a little bit more hardcore than my normal than how I typically run. Something happens to Misha's character, Misha's character dies, then she already has the framework for her next character. She can legit have her follower. She can then roll up her follower as a character, upgrade her follower to a character, re-roll a new follower, and go from there. So they already have backups because the bad guys that they're going to come across once they start getting into a bit of the story, the bad guys that they're going to come across, if there's combat, they're not looking to knock people out. Like the enemy organization that they're going to face are literally going to be knock them out, hit them a couple more times, make sure they're dead. If you have the time, you cast Speak with Dead on them. Like there is
the Tark Soulstone method of things.
Exactly right. Because in this world, as per I'm going to play it as per the rules. We're not doing me wrong. It's 3-5 rules, but that's the way I'm going to play it. Is if a necromantic spell has been cast on this character, the only thing that can bring them back is true resurrection.
Nice. Talking about D&D, I've had a week so far of the D&D class with my students.
Yeah, I seen you had posted something about that. I was curious on how that went.
So, the first one I ran the first encounter out with goblins out of excuse me, the Sunken Citadel.
Mhm.
And the first group, they talked to the old man, got some information, went out there, but ran out of time before they encountered the goblins. Next group was 4 barbarians. I was so down with this. The second they're like, I'm a barbarian. What about you? I'm a barbarian. What about you? I'm a barbarian. What about you? I'm a barbarian. They all made the exact same character, except one had one extra HP, and one carried a great maul instead of a great axe. So they start bickering with each other about the money, and then one of them just hops the fence to the quest giver's house without saying anything. So he pulls a crossbow. They kill and then eat the quest giver and find a way to blame it on the goblins, and then rob the town, set it on fire, and then all died in a blaze of glory as, 80 80-ish people eventually wore them down and killed them because, they had like 12, 14 HP.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, they went cannibal. Next group lays a trap, kills all but one goblin, broker a deal with the goblin so the goblin now works for them, and they start running a Dragonheart scheme on towns.
Wow.
And the last one, I had them start in the Yawning Portal. One of them started a fight with Durnan.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And so he threw them into the well, but the wizard used one of his spell slots to cast Featherfall. And then that's how the adventure began. And they eventually found Mirth the Moneylender's ring and came back to get their cash. But as they came back up, there was a new rule that said this specific character's name, and I can't remember what it was, is no longer allowed in the Yawning Portal.
Wow.
Like, went up and, like, pulled on Durnan's mustache and said, listen to me, bitch. And I'm like, oh
Oh.
no.
Oh, honey.
No. Roll me a strength check. You got to get a nat 20. I rolled a 7. No. Durnan grabs
No.
you by your throat, looks at you disappointedly and unamused, walks you over to the bar and walks you over to the well and drops you in. But some of them really started getting into it. I got a group of girls that should be back this week. But one was like, I'm small and fierce. What's small? My halflings. I'm going to be a halfling. I want to steal shit. Can I be a halfling rogue? I'm like, yeah, I got this. She made her character in 5 minutes. She goes, my name's Tiny, and I will fuck you up. I was like, what do you mean? Oh, that's my last name. I will fuck you up's my last name. So I was like, this is not my favorite character. It is going to be an NPC somewhere in one of my games as a halfling rogue called Tiny with an IE. Will fuck you up.
Wow. Yeah, that I would dig on doing that so fucking hard, dude. Talk about machine gun world building. Because I'm probably going to use the kind of start rebuilding out on my old campaign and take the old school approach, like the old AD&D approach of or this is my world. This is and you do the same thing. This is my world. This is where all of my games happen. It may be different areas, different things may happen, but this world is going to have history. It's already got history. Somewhat from the first campaign. I'm just going to expand on it and move on to another area, and I'm just going to keep continually building and building and building this world. That way, they're always going to be there, and as per usual, there will be a slight Mediterranean man with a round cap and and a saber that shows up that will show up randomly, and inform them that there is no possible way that this can end badly.
It's so far in every game I think I've run, there has been an Aldrich, so there's one terrible halfling, and most games y'all have not met him, but there is a brother Turt Reynolds, Death Cleric Tortle, out in the world, just because you can't hate on Turt Reynolds.
So yeah, that's I'm kind of getting my drive together to it's kind of getting the fire stoked to get this done. I just need to put some ideas down and figure out what's going to happen and get some contracts together, and I'm going to physically make some contracts and go ahead and print them out and tea stain them and seal them, and give them the option, and then go from there, and we'll we'll kind of take it and go. And then as far as, and just to go along aside with that, to go back into the crafting section, the crafting part of the conversation, I really want to start making props, like really cool handouts and items and things like that to hand out to the players. It'll probably stay more in the realm of paper stock, simply because that's easy to, because all but like 3 of the people that play in my games keep their shit here. So it's probably going to stay as paper stock, simply so that I don't have to store big shit.
3D printing little trinkets that represent it has been really fun. But on that note, I got to talk to Claire and Chris about this. Probably going to have to push back the charity game because of flooring. But I also need to talk to Chris about what we got to create. I do have everything to make the map for the charity game, and it is fired back up some of the old steampunk inclinations on how to make certain things, because it's like, okay, I got to do a steampunk terrain for a combat area. How do I do that? Well, back in the long ago, you used to dumpster dive and find shit and make things from it. Or ask Canon, is it safe for me to do this? Hoping that what you already did was not unsafe.
Is it safe to do this? No, that's fucking stupid. Oh,
Good
okay.
thing I totally didn't already do that.
No, that's stupid. If it goes wrong, then this will happen.
As you're throwing the item off into the wood line.
What'd you say, Cannon?
As you're throwing the item off in the wood line.
Hey, if I do, is it okay if I do this? No, that's fucking stupid. If you do this and this, then the whole thing will blow the fuck up. Well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Like, oh my God, like when Chris and we found something, it's like, oh man, this would be really cool to put on a gun. And then we found out it was part of a refrigerator compressor. And then Chris snipped something and it shot the fuck off in the shop. Just, okay, that was dumb. Find it so we can put it on the gun.
It's not going to stop us from using it, but fuck, that was scary.
That sounds like any time with Don, though.
I mean, we have covered Don on this podcast at length. And yeah, that's the thing. Don, wait, we can't go. Don, we're not Fae. We can't go there.
Oh,
you will make it home, Don. We won't.
Just a little bit later. Shit, we're here. Who's got iron? Anyone got iron on them? That's gonna be the only way we survive right fucking now. Talking about Don, Emily and I were looking at sometime after we've got the house settled, maybe sometime in the fall, making our way down south to see everybody. We're like, we need to go to New Orleans again and like make sure that he meets Cedric and Evie and everybody, and it's like, but we can't take him to Don's house because Don's house is not Vincent proof and Vincent is not Don's house proof. We don't need this 7-year-old to get us accidentally secondhand haunted. Because all Don will do is giggle about it. So we'd have to meet Don for lunch somewhere. Also, I do not trust Vincent and Don's shop. There's too much expensive breakable shit in there.
That will follow. That has things connected to it that will follow you home.
What'd you say?
That will that have things attached to them that will follow you home.
Yeah, that's the shop and his house. Eesh. And Vincent has a habit of touching everything.
Yep, mine too. Mine too.
Mine tend to touch things I don't even want to touch. That bothers me.
Yours are like, hey, I found this whole dead skeleton or this whole dead animal. I'm going to bury it so I can get its skeleton. I'm like, okay.
You kill a copperhead, and 5 minutes later, she's sitting there skinning the son bitch.
Well, that's just getting good. That is the step to getting good leather, though.
I mean, that's raising a practical woman.
I saw the picture of the puppy that made its way to the creek.
Yeah, they still got 6.
They still got 6. How many did they start with?
Well, they had 7 in the litter, and then they found 2 somebody dumped off. They got rid of those 2, and they got rid of 1 from the litter, so they're down to 6.
Mm-hmm.
I've already been informed I'm not allowed to adopt any more dogs now that I have a backyard that is big enough for a large dog. Because I have been informed that just because we have the amount of property the Irish Wolfhound could comfortably run through and live on, does not mean I'm allowed to get a dog the size of a small horse.
That friggin' Moose and Claire don't help. And you see, that's the same thing at my house. Only the rule is mine. And because we don't have the room for a big dog. And then Kyle and Claire end up getting get a Spanish Mastiff named Winston, who's cute as hell. He's only like 6 months old. He stands to my hip, and he's only going to get bigger. And then my wife melts into a puddle of miche playing with the puppy, and utters the phrase, "I want one." And I have to look at her and go, "So do I. No, we cannot have one. We don't have our house isn't big enough because I want a big dumb dog."
I'm right there with you. I love big dumb dogs. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up with labs and the larger end of beagles. Like that was the
Mm-hmm.
smallest dog that my family ever had was a big beagle. But it's one of those of, man, I really want one of these. Why? Because this is a dog that if it was to charge me could actually knock me down. This is an actual animal. I love my weenie dogs. But the only reason I'm going to fall down with them is because I trip over one of the damn things shooting between my legs.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Like,
I want a dog that's big and dumb and lovable, that is the biggest baby ever, but if someone saw it from behind the fence, they'd go, oh shit.
yeah. I was like, if I had the money and I didn't live in, there are only 2 restrictions on what I'm about to say, and that's financially, which could probably be resolved at some point if I found one. And honestly, because I think it would probably end up being kind of cruel to have this and to have this dog in South Louisiana as we are experiencing a friggin' heat wave.
Do you want a Tibetan Mastiff?
I want Mouse.
Yeah, you cannot get 280 pounds worth of floof and let it live in South Louisiana, man. That thing would die. But I'm
Mhm.
right there with you because literally, I think they range anywhere from, what is it, 180 to 250 on average for the weight of a
Mhm.
full grown male. Cannon, have you seen a Tibetan Mastiff?
Possibly, I'm not sure.
It's a food dog.
They're foo dogs.
Like legit, that's what food dog's based off of.
I may have seen pictures of one in the past when I was researching Mastiff, but it doesn't enter my brain.
For those of you who don't know, take a husky, increase magnification by, I don't know, 400%.
Basically, it's a triple dire Pomeranian if you look at how fluffy they are.
Or chow chow,
Yeah,
big,
bigger than.
super big chow chow.
I mean, it's. I think a full-grown Tibetan Mastiff its shoulders would be at my hip. I
Yeah,
think they're usually about 3 foot at the shoulder, and then they're usually over 6. They're like 6.5 feet tall on their hind legs.
yeah. These dogs are ginormous. But Mousie's good dog.
But also, still not the biggest dog breed.
No,
That's
no,
what.
it is not.
That's what's crazy. It's the is it the Caucasus Mastiff that's the biggest one, or is it? Because I know it's a Mastiff because they're just big dog.
I know Cane Corsos are up there. We have the internet. We are literally on the internet. What is the
Wait,
largest dog breed?
Mastiffs.
It,
Here's a summary from Reader and Hash 30.
Mastiffs.
so anything in that category? I mean, I know that the Spanish Mastiff was originally bred to be a war dog.
Mastiffs are
They are. Hush. The Spanish ones, which is what Winston is, are actually on the smaller, are a little bit on the smaller end.
Well,
They're
he's a Canary Island Mastiff. He's a because I saw that in the name. I was like, oh god, that's going to be when Emily showed me the name. I was like, I think that's a Mastiff, and if it's from the Canary Islands, that's a subbreed of Spanish Mastiff,
yeah.
and that's going to be a big dog.
Oh yeah. Winston is a big old pupper. Uh, so yeah, but we will have, I think once, and I hate to say it, once the old man goes, um, yeah, we will, because that's another thing. That's another kind of stumbling block to that is Dirge is like 13 years old. He's an old man. He's still good. He's still he's still kicking, but I mean he's an old man. So once Dirge goes, then we'll look into getting another dog. And I think the smallest, as it stands, the smallest dog that we're gonna get is gonna be a pit. That would be the smallest caliber dog that we would get, and then go up, and depending on availability and what we can find when we start looking, it will go up from there.
I have to get the okay from Emily because she's not super into really big dogs. Like, I think I can convince her up to an American Bulldog.
Ah,
Maybe a German Shepherd, which is hitting the smaller end of big dogs. Again,
yes.
how's Big Renly now, Cannon?
About 100. About 100 pounds. Stand on his hind legs. He can put his front paws over a 5 foot tall chain link fence. Uh, he probably stands just below my hip joint. Uh, his head comes up to my hip.
And then he's the father of all the puppies, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
That's kind of like there was a bunch of Basset Hound, Black Lab puppies in our neighborhood because our dog got out of the fence one time.
Hmm.
And my dad had to get onto our dog. It's like she had little stumpy legs. She couldn't get away, man. What were you even thinking? And our dog's just like, I'm happy. And again, I love big dumb dogs because he had no clue he had done something he wasn't supposed to do. Like
I mean, he
anytime
didn't.
anytime he got out of the backyard, he didn't understand that getting out of the backyard was bad. He's like, I'm out here now. The world's my oyster. I'm gonna go crap in that yard now. Then get the
I'm
phone
in a
call.
new place.
Where's the bathroom? It's my
Yes.
it's my day. It's my time everywhere. Oi. Ugh.
Yep.
Yeah, this next week I gotta finish painting all the doors, which will take me 2 days. Simply because taking them down, painting them, and reinstalling them. And I'm probably not going to put the door handles back in just yet because I think we're going to change all the interior door handles anyway. So my child does not lock himself out of his room for the 18th goddamn time.
Hmm.
It is why, because I've almost punched a hole through part of the handle so that I can just depress the lock.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've done is just, I've switched his door here to where it can't lock anymore. It's just one door has a way to lock itself from the inside and the outside, and then his door has no way to lock. But that's what I'm doing, and then getting wallpaper down. I've gotten most of it down. It's just that they super glued the seams. So I got really weird picture frames throughout my whole kitchen is what it looks like.
Hmm.
But do that, wait on a plumber, wait on an electrician, and remember that mowing 2 acres with a push mower, by the time I've mowed one lawn, I still have a whole lawn to go.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have a bitchin' garden next year because it's going to be so big.
Yeah.
I legit can plant corn in a full... in a
Row.
Yeah, in a, well, just actually a decent row size area.
Yeah.
So excited about that. And that Bosch Kyle is my next door neighbor, so I have free help on everything as long as he has access to the shop. That is a pretty good deal for what I'm going to call an apprentice plus one.
Yeah.
But it's if I got work with summer school, awesome. If I don't, more work at the house. And yeah, as long as everybody's good tomorrow, we'll be playing D&D because I gotta keep myself from staying there till 10 o'clock at night. So at least right now I do.
Yeah.
And we can finish it up. I know Jake had other stuff going on, but I wish he would have held on for one more game just to finish up the arc. But I understand if all you do is D&D, especially if it's your job, sort of, or is your job, I don't know. But if it's what you do the majority of the time, playing it one more time out of the week just is not fun. I've been there and done that.
Yeah. Yep. Can't blame the boy.
But it should be fun. I'm hoping y'all are looking forward to what will happen. And I got some ideas for where it goes from there.
Cool.
But we've gone over an hour, guys. So I guess last thing we'll do before we sign off for the next week, is there anything that you found on YouTube recently that's been cool to watch?
For me, it's been like I finished up the 23 episodes of the Chain of Acheron from MCDM, Matt Colville's company channel. I don't know. It's another thing I've been kind of digging on is just games and just like card games and stuff in general. And primarily card games that I don't play. Uh, uh, One is Pokemon because I'm looking to potentially get into Pokemon because it's something that I can probably teach to the girl and have something that me and her can play. The other is about 3 or 4 months ago, I ended up coming across a YouTube channel called Team APS. They are a it's a group of 7 guys. 3 of them live together, and they do Yu-Gi-Oh content. Like they'll do like funny skits based around Yu-Gi-Oh, and also they'll do what really drew me in was they'll do still like silly challenges. Like, okay, we bought one we bought a mystery box of 300 cards off of Amazon. uh Calvin and Trell are going to now take these cards, build a deck, and see if they and then play and see who wins. That kind of thing. They do a lot of that. They do a lot, and they also do like a lot of old product where they'll get like first 4 or 5 sets. They'll get a bunch of boosters, and then they'll either do a draft or they'll just here. These are your packs. These are your packs. Open them up, build decks, and go. And things of that nature. I really started to watch them, and through context clues, I believe they are actually local to you, Hewitt.
They're up here.
I believe so.
What's the name of that channel again?
Team APS.
Shoot that to me in a link and I'll see, because I know that some of the guys at the A&H Game Shop have been streaming recently.
They are, and I like one of them. One of them is a police officer in Kingswood. I think it's Kingswood, right there, just kind of southeast of Monroe.
I will definitely have to look into that.
They don't say where they're from. But one of the things they were one of the things one of them was wearing a ULM shirt, and that kind of got me thinking. And then I really remembered that there's one episode where that member that is a police officer was in uniform, and I kind of zoomed in on it, and sure enough, I kind of creepy internet stalked and realized, oh, these guys are local. Now I'm going to follow the shit out of them because it's quality content, and I enjoyed their stuff. I really did. I like there's a lot of the stuff that they do is really kind of akin to my home group. Like a lot of similar personalities and stuff like that to some of my people. So I enjoyed their content to begin with, and then I realized there was an interview where they talked about like two or three of them moving after Katrina, and that's when the flags went up, and then the ULM shirt. I was like, hold on a second, and then the badge, and I was like, okay, I'm right. So they're up there by you. So that just and so some group on YouTube that I am watching and I am enjoying their content is actually local, kinda. It's actually from Louisiana. Dude, I'm throwing as much support that I possibly can behind these guys. Because now I went from being someone who enjoyed watching their content to someone who has pride in their content. Because that's what I'm talking about. Show them that we know what the hell we're talking about.
Cool.
Wave that flag for Louisiana gaming, and that's just a thing for me. It's kind of always been. So I've been watching the hell out of them, and just some other thing, just a couple random things. There's another the Pokemon stuff that I've been watching is there's a girl named Frosty Caribou on YouTube. She does primarily Pokemon pack openings, but she's also done I highly recommend Frosty Caribou's channel. She's kind of cutesy, but there's a 3-part series that she has that gives you information on how to get started in the Pokemon trading card game. Because she's not one of these YouTubers that just opens packs to get views, and she doesn't just hunt for the expensive cards, which has caused a whole bunch of shit in the past couple of years. Put a pin in that. I'll come back to that in a second. Or in the past year and a half. Put a pin in that. I'll come back to that later. Like when she's opening packs, like the card that she is hunting for and looking for is legit a card that she wants to be able to build with and put in her deck. So she does do pack openings, but there's a 3-part series that shows you how to get into the game. There is also there's a couple of videos, one in particular that goes into the rediscovery of the Pokemon card game phenomenon that happened last year. That centers primarily around Jake Paul. And that has and is the reason why you cannot find Pokemon or also Yu-Gi-Oh cards at any major retailers. It's also the catalyst for the reason is this entire debacle is also the reason why most Walmarts and now Target is moving towards removing all collectible card games from their stores. And it all stems from just kind of a perfect storm of things that happen. It's a long story, and Boo kind of goes into it in a whole lot more detail. So I would suggest y'all go watch that. And then the third series that she has not put out yet that I'm waiting on because I'm an organizational nerd when it comes to my games is she has been working on a video for to show how she sorts and stores her cards. And I'm actually really looking forward to that because I'm feckin' weird. So plus it's also a situation of I'm always on the lookout for better storage solution for card games because I have 3 card games. That I have a lot of. The smallest collection I have fits in one large 5-row box. That's the smallest one, and then I have another one that's in one of those and 6 longer just the 1-row long card boxes, and then I have Magic, which takes up like 3 times as much space as that. So I'm always on the lookout for better storage options. And then finally, just kind of trying to keep up with what Sean James is doing on My Self-Reliance and stuff like that. I've actually got a couple of videos I'm going to be watching here once I get back inside. The videos from last week.
So, Cannon, anything that you've found on YouTube recently that's piqued your interest?
I've been watching a lot of a channel called Worth the Effort, and it's basically a woodworker that goes through and shows you how to make shop projects and how to make lathe turn-ins that you can sell, and just a variety of different things. I haven't completely caught up with everything he's got out there, but I've been catching a show every couple days. I'll watch something he's done.
Cool.
Definitely link that in the messenger.
Yeah,
that sounds like something.
Yeah, both of y'all post what y'all got in into Discord. On my end, what I've been watching, and it is legit just I don't want to fully pay attention. I need something on in the background, but then it turned into I'm actually paying attention, and it's called Kuga's Travels. It is a guy in Japan that has over the last year or two detailed like different travel and different food places in Japan. Like he did a video about you can catch a ferry from Hokkaido to Kyushu. So he's like, I got this 3-day cruise on a ferry. I parked in my car, and this is what's on the boat. And I was like, okay. It's kind of like those videos you used to watch, Kyle, of like street food vendors and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It is a. I'm not learning anything new from it, other than this is really cool. But it's one of those I can sit down and completely shut off,
Yeah.
and I've needed that recently. The other one is I think I mentioned last time Bourbon Moth. If y'all want to watch, he's the one that built a tank from his lawnmower, but he's a cabinet maker. But the other thing is I've been listening to the newest season of the Adventure Zone. It's going to be called Aethersea, and they've played a game to build the world for it that I would like us to try for a game in the future. Chris and I did a version of it for the charity game. It's called The Quiet Year. You start out with kind of a map, like you just kind of draw the land area, and then everybody that's playing helps build the lore behind where you're going to play the game, so that everybody has just a little bit more investment. And it's like it revolves around discussion, projects, putting something on the board, and like the first two
Hmm.
seasons are like spring and summer are pretty good, but the second you start getting to fall, things start getting like mean. Like there's a lot of cancel projects in fall. But I'm looking at buying that game so that we can play it sometime in the future and build a world to play a game in.
Yeah. That sounds really fucking cool.
So oh, sorry, go ahead, Cannon.
Posted my link up in the Craft Talk.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I clicked the wrong thing. I got on pet pictures and it looks like Claire's lizard is snorting cocaine from a bowl.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway, if there's nothing else, Kyle, would you do us the honors?
We appreciate y'all hanging out with us for as much time as y'all spent with us this evening. We hope we was, if nothing else, enjoyable to listen to, and at most maybe kind of funny, and maybe a little bit educational, and at the very least something to put on in the background that sounds kind of interesting. So that's what we shoot for. So we appreciate your patronage, and so it sounds like there's a distinct possibility we'll be playing Lost Sea. We'll be playing Lost Sea, not Lost Seas, Holy Winds tomorrow. So join us for that somewhere around 7:30, 8 to 8 o'clock. We'll start that. Those usually run from usually about 10 to 11, depending on what time we start. And follow us on all the socials. They should be on the page. Until next time, folks, don't let your meatloaf.